Ukraine Foreign Minister Advisor, of course. We've got 1,000 days since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Around 80,000 Ukrainian soldiers have perished, it would seem, since Russia's full-scale invasion in early 2022. We've now got news, of course, that America has given Ukraine permission to fire long-range missiles into Russia. Let's get an update from Cormac. Cormac, how are you doing?
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. Snowing here, which is unexpected. We didn't know it was going to happen.
It's raining in Kennington. It's miserable.
Oh, well, never mind. Never mind. There's farmers coming up to protest. The British government doesn't seem at all sure what they're really going to do in Ukraine. What are you making of it all?
Well, you know, I have a number of thoughts on this day. You know, it's Ukraine that was supposed to last for only 3 days is still standing strong. 1,000 days into this genocidal war. Yeah. And this is despite, and I have been saying this for a long time, we have, despite all the support, we have let Ukraine down, and we have let Ukraine down badly. We've always given them enough to keep them in the game. We've given them that generally too little too late, but we've never given them enough to deliver the vital knockout blow. And, you know, there was certainly a sense in my most trusted Ukrainian friends and advisors were telling me from the very start, and I've come to see it, that actually some in the West, not Britain, I would say, but certainly Germany, and I would say the United States, have not actually wanted Ukraine to win. They've been afraid of defeating Russia with a fear of what the breakup of the Russian Federation would actually mean. And also, and I think Olaf Scholz, with his totally pointless and pathetic phone call to Putin on Friday, chasing after a mythical reset of relations that, quite frankly, Mike, will never happen.
That is the problem, though, because in doing what they've done, they've sort of pleased nobody, the West, have they? Because they've also not pleased people who think, what's the point of giving a load of money, billions and billions of pounds of money, to a country so that they can't win a war? It's almost like, how long... A lot of people have been asking the question recently, how long does this go on for? So that by not giving them enough, they've sort of failed the people who don't want them to give them anything as well.
But, you know, Mike, there's another point to this. Yes, we have failed the Ukrainians, and I believe if we had gone in harder and faster at the beginning, there would be tens of thousands of Ukrainians who might still be alive. And this war could well be over now in Ukraine's favor. But, you know, the bigger point is, by acting like this, we have seen the world move into a far more dangerous place now than it was nearly 3 years ago, 1,000 days ago. You know, appeasement always emboldens dictators. It has emboldened Putin continuously, but it has also emboldened the other dictators, primarily in the excess of evil of China, North Korea, and Iran, who we know are all allied strongly with Putin. And we have had numerous security service reports in recent months that we now know that China is providing lethal aid to Ukraine. And
I was just talking
to Russia. I'm sorry, to use against Ukraine.
Yes, well, I was talking to Sir Ian Duncan-Smith a bit earlier on, though, because we're now apparently in the guise of Keir Starmer sucking up to China, who are also part of that axis, who are also helping provide weapons to Russia.
Well, you know, I will say to you what I said to your colleague Julia Hartley-Brewer yesterday on China. I think it is quite right that the Prime Minister is speaking to Xi. I don't think we can say yet that he is cozying up, but, you know, I would, if I had one piece of advice as a former advisor to a foreign minister, if I could be so bold as to give one piece of advice to Keir Starmer, it's this: if you shake hands with Xi, count your fingers afterwards.
Well, I mean, the one thing that's happened since they had that conversation is that Xi has locked up dozens of people in Hong Kong for the crime of subversion. Journalists, politicians, academics, and basically anyone that he doesn't like. So whatever it was that Keir Starmer thought he was saying to him hasn't had any effect at all.
Well, Mike, could I kind of, you know, on that particular point, and could I bring it back to Ukraine? Because I mentioned Olaf Scholz having this ill-advised phone call with Vladimir Putin only on Friday, in terms of And how did Russia react to that? They launched the heaviest drone and missile attack on Ukrainian cities and civilian targets since this horrible further invasion began 1,000 days ago. And the Kremlin spokesman, Peskov, came out and said that they had no interest in a peace settlement, which would mean freezing the lines of contact in Ukraine, and indicating that their ambitions in Ukraine are still maximalist. And to remind viewers and listeners what those views are, they are the eradication of Ukraine as a country and a national identity from the face of the earth, and with it as many of the Ukrainian people who would get in their way as they need to wipe out.
Shocking state of affairs. Good to talk to you, Cormac. Thanks very much indeed. Cormac Smith there on the 1,000 days of the Ukrainian war.